Recording in progress.
Hello, dear Sangha. Good evening. Lovely to see your smiles. How is my sound? Is it okay or is it echoing? Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you. Well, as you can see from my environment, I am home. I have arrived. Yay. Feels real good to be back. And it makes me very happy because I have my full computer and I have more controls. Whoa. Oh. So tonight we have the great joy of sitting together, and then we will practice our walking meditation together. And then I will be offering a recorded presentation by Thich Nhat Hanh, as he was discussing some years ago. I don't have the date in front of me, but I want to say, I won't guess. But as he was discussing war and peace. So it is a very relevant conversation, I think, for this evening. And I thought it might be very nice. Hello to those of you who are just arriving. I thought it might be very nice also to break into smaller groups and just have an opportunity to share a little more intimately um, about how all of this is landing with us, how we're working with the news of the day. And then we can come back out into the whole group and have a whole group harvest before we close the evening, so we can all benefit from each other's wisdom. So is there anyone here this evening that's here for the first time? I think I'm seeing familiar names across the board. If you are here for the first time, um, after our formal practice period, I'd like to invite you just to perhaps say a few words about yourself so that we can greet you formally. We're happy you're here, and we look forward to practicing together. Um, yeah, so let's go ahead and find our posture in our seats. Begin by feeling our feet on the floor. Feel the weight of our body in our seat. Perhaps open up our shoulders a little bit to give our lungs some more space. There's a thread that runs up our spine and out through the top of our head. So we want this crown of our head to be the highest point, which means we drop our chin a little bit. I invite you to bring a smile to your lips. You can actually sit with your eyes partly open if you're feeling sleepy to let in some stimulation, or go ahead and close them completely. And then bring your awareness gently to the sensation of your in-breath. Notice how it fills your lungs, what moves in your body as you breathe in, And then your out breath. I'll invite the 3 sounds of the bell for our meditation to begin. Notice carefully how the air feels as it moves across your nostrils, down the back of your throat. Relax your belly. Let it fall forward. Feel how the abdomen moves without any resistance. Notice if your breathing is fast or slow. Shallow or deep. You may need to make slight adjustments to your posture to really settle into the stability of sitting and breathing. If there are any thoughts that arise, just notice them and let them float on past like clouds in the sky. What else do you notice about your breathing? Is there a temperature difference between the in-breath and the out-breath on the skin beneath your nose? If you notice any tendency to control your breathing, see if you can just relax and let your body take the lead, letting your breath be just as it is in this moment. Now let's shift your body awareness or your awareness into your body from your breath, moving it down perhaps to the tips of your toes. Just slowly start to scan your body up the balls of your feet, into the arch of your feet, your heels, your ankles, slowly bring the awareness up your body. And if you find any places of tension or discomfort, just pause there a moment and send your body love. Bring the energy of mindful awareness and loving kindness to that place of discomfort. Slowly moving up your legs into your hips, the small of your back, slowly through your trunk, up into your chest. This exercise is something like a mother exploring her newborn child, removing the blanket and touching the preciousness of all the different parts of the child, discovering perhaps for the first time the well-being of this body. Taking note and care of anything that might need a little extra love. Become aware of your arms, your hands that are miracles in and of themselves. your shoulders and neck, and your head, face, mouth, tongue, teeth, ears, eyes. Take a moment to send compassion to this body that has served you so well. That is there for you when you are mindful of it and when you are not. This body that is doing its best. And when you're ready, let's bring our awareness to our feelings. Come home to what is alive for you right now. Notice if you are happy or sad, relaxed or anxious, calm or excited, restless or peaceful. And notice as you sit, paying attention to your emotions, notice how they shift. And notice as your emotion shifts to something else, notice any change that that has in the body. The imprint of the new emotion is different in the body than the emotion before that. And for a moment, just release all of your thoughts and just be here and now in the community of Sangha, in this present moment, in peace and harmony, touching the seeds of well-being. From this place of stability and peace, return your attention to your breathing. And also invite into your awareness, without losing all of your focus on your breath. Keep about 10% of your focus on your breath. Invite into your awareness something that has been hard for you. And when you bring that into your awareness, with keeping part of your attention on your breath, just notice how that difficulty is imprinted on your body and on your heart. And keep breathing. And if that imprint is difficult, go ahead and extend compassion to yourself, loving kindness. Know that this pain that you feel is a reflection of love, of hope. And now let that relax. Come back with your full attention to your breath. Notice the interior of the body relaxing as well. And now invite something up into your awareness that has been nourishing to you, that brings you joy and happiness. And listen to the imprint of that on your body. Notice how this joyful, nourishing element is also rooted in love. Bathe that nourishment in your mindful awareness and your gratitude. Thank you, friends. You might want to shift a little bit. Let your body kind of move with that experience. Let us begin our walking meditation. This practice is the art of bringing our awareness into motion. It is an opportunity for us to take gentle steps on the earth, to practice that, to step into relationship with Mother Earth, to, as we walk with each step, to give to the earth our compassion, our kindness, and in the next step, accept from the earth the blessings and the gifts that help to support us. So there's reciprocity, both the giving and the receiving in each pair of steps. And the first sound of the bell, we can rise and stand behind our chairs. With the next sound of the bell, we can bow to one another, to the Buddha that is within each of us. And with the next sound, we will begin our loving steps. Thank you, friends. Now let's settle in and listen to the words of our dear teacher, our root teacher, Thich Nhat Hanh. I will share my screen and hopefully this works seamlessly.
Going home, we are afraid of touching our pain, touching the war within. Sometimes we find ourselves at war with another person, maybe with our family, with our society, with our tradition. But we may learn that when we are at war with someone else, there may be a war within us. And that is why we don't want to go home. Of course, there is war within and around us. But there is something else. There is also peace and joy. And we should learn to go home in order to touch the joy and the peace within us and around us. And this is very important because all of us need to be nourished, to be stable, in order to be able to go further, to do something for the people around us. I know many of you are very dedicated to the cause of peace, of social justice. But many of us feel at times lost, angry, despair. We are overwhelmed by the tremendous amount of suffering that is there around us and even inside of us. We need a source of energy, a source of peace, of joy in order to counterbalance. Because we know that if we do not have some amount of peace, of joy, of happiness, we cannot do anything. We cannot continue. The practice of arriving helps us to touch the peace and the joy within in order to get nourished. And that practice will help us to generate the energy of mindfulness that will help us to touch the war within and around us. Because touching the war without strength, without the energy of mindfulness, may be dangerous. We'll be overwhelmed by it. We'll be shattered by it. And therefore, before we learn to touch the war within and around us, we should cultivate the energy of mindfulness. And that kind of cultivation could be realized when we learn to go home and touch the peace and the joy in us. In the Buddhist tradition, we used to talk about our consciousness in terms of seeds, in terms of bijas. Bijas mean seeds. We have seeds of peace, of joy, of happiness. We have seeds of war, of anger, of despair, of hatred in us. There are seeds of peace and joy and loving kindness in us that need to be touched. We should learn to touch them by ourselves. And we should need our friends to come and help touching them. This is the practice. I always encourage my friends to begin the practice by touching peace, touching the positive seeds within us, and touching the positive seeds within the other person. It's pleasant. It helps nourish each other. And we know that touching, the deepest kind of touching is with the energy of mindfulness. And in Buddhist meditation, to generate the energy of mindfulness, to touch peace, is very crucial. We are encouraged not to touch the war first. We are encouraged not to touch the pain, the despair, the suffering first. And touching peace we can do as individuals, we can do as a community, we can do as a nation. And it is pleasant. I may like to touch my eyes with the energy of mindfulness. I have the energy of mindfulness which is generated by the practice of mindful breathing. Breathing in, I know I'm breathing in. Breathing out, I know I'm breathing out. That is the practice of touching your breath. And that practice is called mindfulness of breathing. Now I use that energy of mindfulness to touch my eyes. Breathing in, I'm aware of my eyes. Breathing out, I smile to my eyes. When I touch my eyes with the energy of mindfulness like that, I find out that my eyes are still in good condition. If I touch my eyes deeply, I realize that having eyes in good condition is a wonderful thing. Without my eyes, without the ability to look and see things, I would suffer very much. You only need to open your eyes and look, and you see many wonders of life around us. The blue sky, the beautiful sunset, the face, the eyes, the smile of your beloved ones. You touched these things, these people with mindfulness, and you realize that to be alive, to be able to look at them deeply is happiness. Happiness is something simple. When you have mindfulness, and you get nourished by that kind of touching. When you touch your eyes with mindfulness, you know that your eyes is a condition of peace and happiness and joy for you. You know peace is there to some extent. When you notice that there are trees dying, you know that it is a negative thing. Touching these things, you suffer. But when you touch beautiful trees that are still alive, healthy, you realize how wonderful to still have them around us. And when you touch these beautiful trees, you get nourished. And you make the vow to do whatever you can in order to protect them, to keep them alive. So touching peace is to give peace a chance. Let us practice this exercise of touching together. Let us touch our heart. Breathing in, I'm aware of my heart. Breathing out, I smile to my heart. When I touch my heart deeply like that, I know that my heart is there, and it is a good news. My heart is a condition of peace and well-being and joy for me. But if I don't touch it, I may cause harm to my heart, and I don't get happy. My heart has been working hard day and night to keep me alive, to give me well-being. It pumps the blood, to irrigate every cell of my body. And when I touch it deeply like that, I feel thankful to my heart. My heart is a living thing. And when I touch it with my mindfulness, my loving kindness, my heart will feel it. It feels very comforted by my touching. And if we touch our heart deeply like that, we would know what to do and what not to do in order to support our heart. We know what to eat, what not to eat, what to drink and not what to drink in our daily life in order to be of support to our heart. We find out that smoking is not a very friendly act directed to our heart. We know that drinking alcohol is not a friendly act directed to our heart. And if we continue touching like that, we will stop smoking, drinking alcohol, and we protect the peace, the well-being, and the joy within us. We may spend a lot of time thinking of other things, but we might not have enough opportunity to go back and touch the conditions of peace and well-being inside. We live in forgetfulness. Forgetfulness is the opposite of mindfulness. We live our daily life in such a way that we destroy the peace, the stability, the joy in our body. We bring elements of war into our body. Mindfulness is the capacity to be aware of what is happening in the present moment. If we eat mindfully, if we drink mindfully, if we do things mindfully, but we are under the light of mindfulness, we know what to do in order to bring the elements of peace and joy to our body and to our feelings. We know what not to ingest in order to prevent the toxins, the poisons to enter our body and in our consciousness. And it is possible that we practice that together. If you love me, please help me to be mindful, and please help to touch the positive, healing, and refreshing elements within me. Touch my piece of joy, my seed of joy. Touch the seed of loving kindness in me. Touch the seed of happiness in me. Please do not touch the seed of anger in me. Please do not touch the seed of despair and violence in me. I will suffer, and you will suffer too. So we might like to practice together. Sometimes we suffer a little bit too much, and we blame the other person as the cause of our suffering. Our partner, our son, our daughter, our parents. We blame them. We consider them to be the cause of our suffering. But in fact, they do suffer like us too. And our enemy is not the other person. Our enemy is the seed of despair, anger, frustration, fear in every one of us. You are not my enemy. I want you to practice with me in order to help transform the seeds of suffering in me and in you, because we all suffer the same thing. So if partners suffer, we should try not to look at the other person as the cause of our suffering. We should bring together our intelligence, our talent, our mindfulness in order to work for the transformation of the negative things in both of us. The tension that exists between us prevent us from helping each other. Since we know that we are victims of the same kind of suffering, why don't we come together? And my idea of practice is that when we come together, we practice touching the positive things first. We practice looking deeply in order to see the seed of peace, of joy, of talent, of happiness in ourselves and in the other person. We recognize each other's values because everyone has his or her own talents and strength and positive values. Everyone has jewels within himself or herself. Looking deeply into the other person in order to recognize these jewels and tell him and tell her, appreciating these values is a very wonderful practice.
Thank you, dear Thai. So I'd like to set up breakout rooms. And I think what I'll do is set up so that we have 3 people in most of the rooms. Maybe one of the rooms would have 4. And this is following very much the practice of Dharma sharing, what we do in our breakout rooms. When we have something we'd like to share, we bow in, and you'll have about, let's see, with 3 people, you'll have about 10 minutes, maybe 12 minutes. So you'll have 3 to 4 minutes each to speak from the heart in whatever is coming up for you. And you can always speak if you have something that is very alive for you. You can speak about that. But I'd like to also offer maybe a prompt question that you'd like to consider going into your breakouts. And I'm going to have to put on my glasses. Thai was talking about touching both the war within and the war without, and starting with watering the seeds of joy first. So, question I might have is, how do you practice with that? with all that's going on in daily life, touching the seeds of war within and without, watering the seeds of well-being first before you get into the nitty-gritty of the hard. And then, as sort of a companion question to that, what are the obstacles to doing that? So I will go ahead and invite you into your breakout rooms at this time. And as you see your room come up,